Okay. So I want to talk about literacy in relation to my channel as well. There's all these problems that come. Now, if you go back to Socrates, right, this is where it all comes back to, and in the way I think about it. Like he said, his argument was that when people read books, they think they know stuff, right? But they don't really know stuff. They just think they know stuff, right? They don't know it. They don't know exactly. And he was elaborate about this and explained why this is, you know. And so if you really are that interested, go and read Plato's Republic, or Plato gives you the account of Socrates' views. So Socrates was adamant that these people, they think they know stuff and they become difficult people to get on with because of that. They get overinflated views of their own self-importance. And they're difficult to get along with, right? This is what Socrates says, right? Okay. This is what my view is that people have this association that's been built up and like conditioned into people over hundreds of years, right? And it started with like people who were well educated, could read, would have good jobs. They would be like in the church or work in law, or something like that. And they would get paid lots of money, right? But this is in Europe, and pretty much the whole system was contrived like that. The church was taken over by the Roman Empire. So, they wanted to use the church to control people, basically enslave everyone and control their spiritual life, because then everything works down from there. So if you can control their beliefs and stuff, you can control their whole lives, right? So people have been conditioned for hundreds of years to think of the books as being like unavoidably associated and connected with learning and also wealth and like power. So that's where we have the word author and authority. They it's from the same word. Also, if you look in history and go back to things like the Inquisitions, people have also been conditioned to not question authority, right? Because if you even question it, like 300 or 400 or 500 years ago, you could just be burned at the stake for even questioning these people. Even though a lot of the stuff nowadays we've discovered, the things they were burning people for and stuff have turned out to be true. Like saying the world is round. People were like, I don't know exactly if people were burned at the stake for saying the world was round, but that's the sort of thing people were severely punished for stating actual scientific facts, So they were really, really heavy-handed, and people have been conditioned over generations and generations to not question certain things, and also to associate like books with like intelligence and like knowledge and learning, obviously, right? That's how it's so obvious and ingrained in people's minds that they just can't see any different. That's what it is. Intelligent people, and that they're like professors and they read lots of books, right? It's always been like that. Well, the problem is that a lot of the time these people are this is really hard to explain, because it's like I'm talking about people's ingrained belief systems that they never ever question going through their whole life, right? Now, when I talk about the written word being probably a great evil, because that's what it looks like, it's like I try talking to people. I've made dozens of videos about this. No one's ever talked to me about it. No one's ever really engaged me in questions about it, or a discussion. So uh, I have to come to this sort of conclusion that the vast majority of people, and it's not just people here on YouTube, it's like I've talked to loads of people about it. I get the same reaction. It's just like a blank look. People don't talk, they don't ask any questions, they don't wonder about it, they don't, it's like they just can't, it's like there's a bit of their consciousness is missing. When it comes to talking about the written word and its veracity, its validity, it's like you was talking about what's under God's skirt or something. They just go like they can't talk about it. And the more this goes on, it's been going on for like I think over 5 years now. I've been making videos and no one has talked to me about it. So the longer this goes on, the more convinced I am that this is a really, really serious problem. So much so that it's like you've got a great big hole in your brain almost, in your consciousness. There's some thing there that is just you people are so deeply conditioned that it's like, to me, it's like you're not a whole human being. This isn't a little thing. I mean, the written word is everywhere. People can, like, they're using the written word if they type comments on. People are always typing comments. You need to have the written word if you're going to operate a computer, right? So it's everywhere. You've been inundated with it. Now, another aspect of this is, right, the dumbed down school system. You've been dumbed down deliberately. It's a system of conditioning, like social conditioning, to make you behave in certain ways, to make you conditioned to behave in certain ways. And because you've been, the main force that you've been conditioned with is the written word, it's all your conditioning. You're probably traumatized by it so totally that you just can't even question it. So where is the human in amongst all that? This is the question. Like, this is the conclusion I have to ask. I come to, and the question I have to ask at the end of it. If none of you people can even talk about this, and yet it's everywhere, and I've come up with loads of reasons to talk about it, because it's like we're causing a man-made mass extinction. That's a serious reason. It can overtake your left brain so that you just think in tunnel vision all the time, and you've got a really, really tiny little awareness of what's going on in the world. That can be caused by the written word. You see, the problem with the written word, people have these associations with it as like leading to intelligence, and they imagine that that's going to lead to knowledge and wisdom and awareness, but actually it doesn't. It shunts you down in a little sort of like tunnel, and you go deep underground. You can go a long way, you can travel a long way and find out all kinds of stuff, but it doesn't mean that you're aware of very much at all in real terms, or that you're lucid, or that you're thinking clearly. It doesn't mean any of those things at all. What tends to happen with the written word is that people become very, very specialist, and which essentially means they become extremely narrow viewed about things. They become specialists. So they're focused on one little tiny area all the time. They're not seeing the big picture. It fosters a left brain way of approaching the world, so that you're looking at things as though you're in the dark and you're looking with a spotlight, and you can only see very small little areas at a time. Whereas the right brain, like when you can use the right brain, you look at the big picture. This is something I done yesterday when I just was sitting there doing nothing, right? Just sit down, do nothing at all day. Don't think about stuff, and then just like you start seeing a bit of the bigger picture of what's going on, in ways that you wouldn't have been able to see if you hadn't just stopped and done nothing. For example, so a lot of people find it very difficult. They find it very uncomfortable to just sit and do nothing. They just they don't know, the chatter in their brain just keeps chattering away and gets them to go and do things, to keep themselves occupied. Basically, I think, so they don't have to go into this place like where you see the big picture and you have to come up to start wondering about these things. I mean, you're not necessarily wondering about these things, but it's like that thing. Some people can freak out if they go into a sensory deprivation tank. If you're not ready for it, they've used sensory deprivation as a means of torture, you know, and that some people they've used it on and they've just gone completely crazy and they never return to sanity. And so there's a potential, a very real danger, I suppose, of people, you know, having to, if they was forced to think about these things, that they might go a bit crazy. Now, to me, it's like, well, you know, you can just tell yourself, I'm going to think about this for 5 minutes, you know, and then I'm going to set the alarm. And then after 5 minutes, I'm not going to think about it anymore. I'm going to go and eat a pizza and watch TV. And then maybe I'm going to think about it for another 5 minutes tomorrow, you know. I'm never going to get any people that are like left brain people to do this kind of thing, I suppose. What reason have they got? Left brain people don't want responsibility. See, for me anyway, doing the work is like what it's about, making a success of your life, and being successful means being responsible. You know, if you want to have power, comes with responsibility. If you seek responsibility, then power will automatically come to you to sort of balance it. So, you know, to me, it's like, in a way, it's a way of getting power, is to be responsible for things that no one else is responsible for. Well. Also, the reason I talk about the written word, I mean, the reason I think this is a problem, right? It's so fucking obvious that it's a problem, and it's so conspicuous that I've been talking about this for 5 years, and no one, literally no one, has engaged me in conversation in all that time, and not just on YouTube, but out in the real world as well. People just don't know how to think about it. Now, if there's anything that you could get from this video, maybe it's like, go away and just think, ask yourself, you know, the question, why aren't people able to think about this? It's like, it reminds me of that thing, you know, like the fish think about water, and or know that it exists, or you know, I don't know. It's perplexing. I mean, it's kind of perplexing, but I not only is it perplexing, but I just have to draw certain conclusions about this for my own sort of sanity's sake, because the way it comes across, right, and I've talked about this before, it comes across like you're programming, right? You're conditioning about not being able to talk about the written word, not being able to question it. Yeah. It's conspicuous in such a way that I feel a kind of forceful, like trying to shunt me away from talking about it. Like, no one's going to engage me in conversation. No one's going to really watch these videos or share them. So what's the point of me making the videos? It's like, well, if I have to drive everyone away from my channel, I don't mind. I'll rather do that than allow you, whether you're aware of it or not, to divert me away from doing something which I feel is really important, and it demands responsibility. Yeah. So that's my take on it. It's like, I would like to talk about other things. If people don't engage me on these things, then I feel like I'm stuck here talking about these things, because the more conspicuous people are not engaging me in conversation, the more important it seems for me to have to talk about it. It's like that. So you can't get out of it just by ignoring me or waiting for me to make other videos. I'm just going to keep coming back to these subjects. The other thing is, right, because of the dumbing down school system, where people have been dumbed down, that's why you're fucking stupid, and you it's so difficult to think about. It's not like, when I say that, it's not a personal like attack on you people, but nobody talks to me about the dumbed down school system either, you know, or what to do about it, you know. Because I haven't got all the answers. You know, the reason I want to talk to people and engage in conversation is like, you know, because the other problem is like when people have been dumbed down, it's like, you know, people have like lost 20 IQ points. So they're like cavemen, you know, and dear, and I'm as well. I'm just like, I'm just going, oh, look, oh, no, bad, oh, you know, and it's like, that's all I've really got. Hi, HRC. Did I? Did it? That's because I didn't make a video yesterday, right? I got you. Yeah, I mean, I suppose saying nothing. That's what I'm going to start doing. You know, just say less. Okay, just to wrap this video, I'm going to like got some free gifts for you today, or at least one free gift. So it's about gratitude. It's like a little thing I got from this Tools of Titans book from Tim Ferriss. And it's about gratitude. It's a little gratitude exercise you can do. It takes 10 seconds. All you've got to do is think of 2 people and wish them to be happy. You're just like, oh, I wish HRC's happiness. And I wish, I don't know, Mind Ray Parr happiness, let's say. And that's all you've got to do. Takes 10 seconds. You can do it all through the day. If you've got like you're at work, just stop it once an hour and just 10 seconds. And you see what happens after a few days of doing it. You just feel much happier and more relaxed, and like it makes a huge difference just for that tiny little bit of effort. And you can do it anytime. You don't have to say it out loud. You can just think it in your head. I've been doing it. I just speak, looking at people in the street, and I'm just thinking, I wish that person's happy. Oh, but it works. It's a really easy, simple hack to just improve your mood and overall sort of sense of well-being. And it's dead easy. So that's a little one. You don't even have to pay me for that. You can have that one for free. All right. Yeah. I was going to talk about the magnesium again, and just get all the different magnesiums you can get. Just aim for about 10. 10 different types of magnesium supplements. That's what I recommend. Because everyone needs magnesium, and all the different types go to different parts of your body. And there's about 10 of them. So just get them all. That's what I'm doing. I've just ordered my 6th one. I'm on to 6 now. I've got up to 6. I've got 6 different types of magnesium. It's just great. It's really good stuff. It does all kinds of great stuff, and it keeps you younger. And yeah, get some magnesium supplements and be grateful for people and wish them happiness if you want to feel better yourself. Real easy hacks. Okay, thanks for watching. Cheers, HRC.